Imagine a man who claims he once brushed up against history's greatest villain, saw a red flag waving in neon, and then did absolutely nothing about it for 15 years. Now, on a podcast, he's suddenly a prophet of doom. That's Howard Lutnick's story. And when you unpack it, it looks less like whistleblowing and more like preemptive self-defense. Lutnick admits he was in Epstein's home, saw a massage room, heard a creepy comment, and vowed never to return. But he never called the police, never warned colleagues, never wrote a memo. Nothing. And yet today, he's parading that single encounter as if it were a Cassandra moment. If you genuinely thought you were in the lair of a predator, you wouldn't just leave and keep quiet. You'd leave and tell someone. His total silence for over a decade doesn't square with his current certainty. If he had taken any protective or exculpatory step back then, you can bet he'd be waving it around now. And now, in 2025, when Epstein's name is back in the headlines, Lutnick suddenly goes public. Not at the time, not after Epstein's 2019 arrest, but now, on a podcast. If this were about public safety or moral duty, the logical time to speak up was long ago. This timing smells like narrative inoculation. Get your alibi out before your name shows up in a file. Look at how he structures his story. First, I was there. That gives him credibility. Second, I was horrified. That gives him a moral shield. Third, Epstein blackmailed everyone. That sounds like an attempt to preempt disclosure of financial payment records, perhaps his own. It's proximity plus revulsion, packaged as an excuse. That's not how whistleblowers talk. That's how reputational damage control works. Then he contradicts his own government's line. The FBI and DOJ have both said there's no credible evidence of a client list or a blackmail operation. Lutnick says, in effect, they're wrong. But he offers no new evidence. What does he know? If he's not telling, he's positioning. Howard Lutnick isn't blowing a whistle. He's rehearsing an alibi. Everything about Lutnick's story looks odd until you remember who he is. This isn't a random hedge funder or a minor official. This is Howard Lutnick, a billionaire, Trump's longtime golf buddy, now serving in Trump's cabinet. If anyone outside Mar-a-Lago would have a sense of what Trump is planning to do with Epstein-related files, it's him. If Trump is in fact preparing to release sealed Epstein records, and that's entirely at his discretion, Lutnick would be one of the very first to know. In that context, his performance isn't just self-exculpation, it's a signal to others. The files are coming, get your story out now. So keep your eyes open for a chorus of similar performances as people read the Trump tea leaves. Powerful people suddenly remembering how disgusted they were, how briefly they met him, and how they always suspected something. Since if the Epstein files are about to drop, it's time to watch who's scrambling for cover.